But we got the file.
Who made this movie?
Yeah. Army, remember, the Army is commissioning this and playing this for the soldiers and things. Yeah.
But I think it's meaningful. They don't show up. They don't identify it. They show a lot of women. Like
Right.
It could be. These are all our women, or it could be any one of our women.
Right.
But they don't show a picture. They don't just like pick one out and say this is Gina.
Yeah.
It could be anyone.
Right.
Only women in groups.
Yeah.
Kind of memorial, I think, soldiers have always had pinups.
Right. But rarely is the pinup their file. Like, right? It's also you're making fun of Army bureaucracy. You're making all of
Also rewriting lyrics. Joe's got a storehouse of
Yeah.
lyrics.
Not Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yes, Joe.
I have no idea why. It reminds me of the Monster Mash.
Huh. Okay. Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
Okay.
I thought it was Saturday Night Live.
All right, last one here.
I'm not quite sure where this is coming from, but it's very comical to me, right?
Yeah.
But it also reminds me of how the Germans treated people. They were not people, they were human
Wow.
beings.
I didn't make that
So
connection.
I don't know if it's making fun of that. I don't know. Maybe it's a very
Yeah. The role of the Holocaust in the Israeli society is a whole another fascinating topic, and it's an interesting association. I don't know if to make that connection. So last one from the 50s, I couldn't resist bringing you. This is another state commissioned Army song. This was commissioned for the war in Sinai, 1956. Okay, last one.
Just a quick note.
Sure.
93 is approximately 37.5.
For research purposes, I tried to figure out European bra sizes. Again, for research purposes. I have no idea. Mark doesn't laugh once, maybe my joke is listen. I don't know. Okay, anyway, I have no idea what this is.
I was thinking of centimeters.
Yeah, it's centimeters. Okay. All right. So anyway, that's why I wanted to. Okay.
Thanks for sharing.
So this one, Will Sinai was commissioned by the Army for the 1956 campaign in the Sinai. And what I want you to look at, the lyrics here, there's no video, it's just, this is from a record of just Army songs, really. Again, look for secular religious imagery, okay?
It's like they're putting God back in the stores looking for
secular imagery you see here?
It seems like they're now, this is a more balance between, a partnership between God and humans.
Yeah.
Which was not in the previous century.
Yeah. It's still, it says the spark of God is in the eyes of the youth.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's,
Yeah, you're right.
I just think now they have a song that has to do with combat. It's in 1956.
Yeah.
When you're going into combat, you think more about God than there is no combat
Nice.
involved.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So we're in front of Mount Sinai and the thorn bush is burning. What's that a reference to? We're in the burning bush, right? Except this time we're going into, the reason we're talking about Sinai is because they're invading it right now, right? They're trying to recapture the Sinai desert. The flame of God is in the eyes of the youth. Oh, flame of God in the roars of the engines. This day will be retold, my brothers, of the nations returned to, and this is the exact same phrase used in the Torah, Ma'amad Har Sinai. What does it mean now that they are repurposing this Torah image, standing at Sinai to receive the Ten Commandments, versus standing at Sinai because we captured it from the Egyptians and protected our security? Yeah.
So, which mountain is Mount Sinai? It's been debated.
Lord knows, but they're talking about the Sinai Peninsula right now. Sinai Peninsula, they copied the whole thing.
But it's really a 180 because the Jews were not a warlike people. And they were not professional fighters or anything like that. And this is what they had to evolve into.
Again, they're creating a new Hebrew culture. What we were before, we are not going to be now. Last one.
Yeah, I think this gets connected, in fact, very much with the Holocaust and very much with the identification of the Jews. Forgive me for saying this, but to some degree with the Germans. Because in fact, they have taken on the posture of the aggressive, warlike, we'll make it happen, we're going to do it, which is the reflection really of what happened to them in Germany and in Eastern Europe and through Europe. So there is an identification process here with the aggressor, which really leads in many ways to the aura of, forgive me for saying it this way, but the aura of superiority that many early Israelis evidence when you talk to them.
So putting a little bit of a different spin on this, but yeah, you're right. This is the patriotic music era. And the difference between patriotic music and propaganda is a timeline, right? So what we're talking about here is this is again, very, very assertive, reborn culture that believes that they are doing the work of God and it's in their hands, right? So yeah, you can put the spin on that as if and again, I would still hesitate to say in 1956 the idea of aggressor is still very far from the mindset of there's still this feeling of we are kind of in this the island in this ocean, kind of like our Einstein song, with there's troubles that kind of still surrounding us. So still aren't at that. It's a self-confidence born out of a position of weakness almost.
But it is their own strength.
It is born out of weakness, but it is, well,
Yeah.
Is it not also God led us here and, we finally have this and we're not going to blow it?
Yeah, I like that. All right, so now we're going to transition from the 50s into the 60s. This is also a song by Lahakah Nafal, by the Army Band. We are in 1969 right now. This is, I'll get to that in a minute if we listen to it. Also by the Army Commission song. However, this work was banned occasionally by some commanders that had jurisdiction in their field of what songs could be played on the radio and performed and what could not. Some commanders liked this, and some requested it not performed. And when it was played on the radio, the Army censored one word. And I'll tell you that in the end. This is right after the 6-Day War, and I want you to listen, again, secular ideology, and listen to see what does this song remind you of. Think of an American culture in the 1960s. Okay. Some of you are going to have heard this before. This is one of the original recordings. There are better recordings, but I wanted you to see 1960s Israel. Okay? Yeah, okay. Throw that out. This is 1969. look at the lyrics here. You're on page 5, going to page 6. Bitter crying won't wake him up and won't bring him back. Nobody brings you back from the dead. Victory songs and songs of praise, psalms don't work anymore. Watch a little bit of how the band's performing and portraying this. That's the word that was censored, that it was originally sing a song for love and not a song of victory, and the Army switched it to the contrast is love and war, not love and victory. The Army did not like you saying that the Army band doesn't sing a song calling for victory.
But they still let this be published.
It was still played on national radio in 1969, 2 years after the Six-Day War. So give me some thoughts. I've heard a lot of comments of everybody recognized what genre this was immediately. Yeah.
But really, it mirrors the peace movement in the U.S.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
You could pick a half a dozen American songs that had some of the same lyrics.
Yep. And this is the song that becomes the ballad of the peace movement in Israel. This is the song that Yitzhak Rabin sang right before he was assassinated. So when you see those videos, when Yitzhak Rabin was assassinated in 1985, there's that famous video. He's singing this song. He walks down the stairs. You hear gunshots, and they remove the bloody lyrics from him of this song. This is the peace movement anthem, written in 1969, 2 years after the greatest victory Israel's ever had. But they're tired. Look at the any lyrics in particular jump out to people. And again, look for secular religious imagery here again.
But this is also, he whose candle was snuffed out could have been Kennedy.
Sure.
And 69 is right after Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King, a year later.
Yeah.
Yeah, but these were Israelis and they were talking about their own country. But they were always conscious of what was going on in the U.S.
They're aware, but I think when you're talking about they're talking about the soldiers that keep dying in these wars. You're right. They're definitely, you can totally tell by this song, they are plugged into what American culture is doing in 1969. There is not even a delay, right?
Is part of that because there were American youth going to
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Right.
travel?
I mean, you can't imagine. Yeah. American culture is probably our greatest export. Like it's all consuming, and we see the evidence of it right here. And I just want to look at the top of page 6. The purest of prayers won't bring us back. Go down 2 stanzas. Nobody will bring us back. Literally, if you're going with like a liturgical Hebrew, a prayer Hebrew, no one resurrects the dead. We're done with fighting. There is no point in having all these wars anymore. Again, 2 years after the Six-Day War. Guess what doesn't work? Singing about victory and singing psalms doesn't work. What's the only thing you can do? So just sing a song for peace. Don't whisper a prayer. They're done with it. Twice, every time prayer is mentioned, it's negative. Prayer doesn't work. Sing a song for peace in a loud shout. Yeah, really, really stark imagery here. I'm going to go to one more.
Can I just say something that the read first?
Sure.
When it comes to Martin Luther King and Henry Lee?
Yeah.
Don't say the day
army and defending ourselves, the energy of the state should be directed to making peace.
And taking responsibility.
Taking responsibility. So, we're going to listen to Jerusalem Shel Zahav, which I'm guessing a lot of you have heard. This is the song that's played at the very end of Schindler's List. People have seen the movie, right? In every country except for Israel. Because when they tested Schindler's List for Israeli audiences and they heard this song, they started laughing because the song has nothing to do with the Holocaust. And in Israel, they actually switched it to a Hebrew song that does have to do with the Shoah. This was written by Naomi Shemer in May of 1967.
67 more.
June 1967 was the 67 war. 1 month before the 67 war, she wrote a song about longing for Jerusalem. 4 weeks later, the old city of Jerusalem was recaptured, and she added the last stanza to commemorate this. Of all the songs that could have almost been the Israeli national anthem, this one comes the closest. And every couple of years there's a bill in the Knesset saying that this song should actually be our national anthem. Most look at the lyrics. This isn't really the reason I picked this performance is because those performances nowadays skip the sad verse and go to "But It's Okay Now," and this is the only one that I could find that had the lyrics of the original verse. And I'm just going to let you read through the last verse. Okay? Now it's top page 7. And the little city is a wall, is that referring to? Oh, yeah. Nobody goes to the Temple Mount, and there's nobody in the old city. Alright, so, sorry I cut it off early, but this is probably one of the more popular ones that you guys, I saw people humming along. See this one before. Song about the, well, yeah, you tell me, what are we singing about here?
Jerusalem.
Yeah,
Longing.
longing for it. Let's scroll down to the, the bottom page 7, I wrote, that's my comment, written after the 6-Day War. Does somebody want to read that section from us, from 7 to the end?
We have returned to the systems, to the market, and to the marketplace. A lamb born calls out on the Temple Mount in the old city, and in the caves and the mountains, houses and sunshine. We will once again descend to the Dead Sea by way of Jericho. Jerusalem of gold and of bronze and of light. Behold, I am a violin for all your songs.
So, this is still patriotic music. Both this and Shir Shalom are both patriotic music, but it's a very, very different kind of patriotism. And it's more fair to say that Shir Shalom, the previous one, becomes like the ballad of the left and the peace movement. Naomi Shemer, in particular, becomes one of the people who, her songs were taken by the right wing in Israel very much. She's very much a figure supported by kind of, they feel capture their essence and culture. So we got two parallel songs. Both of them are kind of describing very different reactions in Israeli society to still patriotic. I still think, Shir Shalom is patriotic, of the idea of we need to direct the energy of the state towards peace. And this one is, can you believe this miracle that the old city was empty and now we have it back? And that she's really writing about, she seems like a prophet, right? Of, you think of like Martin Luther King's last speech of the, I've been to the mountaintop and I may not get there with you, and then he's assassinated like a couple days later, right? She's singing the song, becomes hugely popular, how important Jerusalem is. A couple weeks later, it does seem like a miracle when Jerusalem is recaptured. So that's what I want to point out of this 60s era here, and now we're going to get into one of my favorites. So,
Can I make a comment? about
sure,
that?
of course.
So that's the wedding march I marched into for my wedding. And in Dallas, I don't know if it's that way here, that's
Really?
That's the song we march into.
Yeah. Huh.
Jewish wedding.
I did not know that. It's beautiful. It's really
It's
pretty.
very pretty too.
Yeah. Okay, last.
As far as not being appropriate to be at the end of that movie, I disagree.
Okay.
Because to me, this moves you away from the Holocaust, and the whole thing about that
Right.
movie is that the Jews survived and they found a new home, and so to me, why sing more about the Holocaust? You know, you're transitioning to their new life.
Basically, you're right. I think I agree with you. I think it's appropriate. The best comparison I would have is that imagine you had a World War II movie that ended with Battle Hymn of the Republic. The reason people laughed is because they're like, wait, these don't match up. These events don't match up. I agree with you. Like there is a connection between them, but just in terms of like why the song was written, that's why they switched the song in Israel. But yeah, I get your point. I mean, I think it's fine to keep it. All right, so let me explain a little bit about what you're about to see here. This is probably one of my favorites. Has everybody heard of the Eurovision Song Contest? All right, so there's this thing that's huge in Europe, and instead of fighting each other anymore, Europe now sings songs. There's a contest that every single broadcasting association that broadcasts on European TV enters into a international song contest, and one song goes on. One song is picked for each country, and all the other countries vote on it. And Israel has won 3 times. This is the first song that Israel won Eurovision with in 1978. Abba Nibi. Let me explain what this is a little bit. You know how Pig Latin works of like ixnay on the, you just add a, right? This chorus is written in Hebrew Pig Latin. What you do, it's supposed to be a children's song. It's supposed to be how children talk to each other. Ani is I am. That becomes Abba Nibi. What you do is you just repeat the vowel and you stick a B in front of it. This is Hebrew Pig Latin. Abba Nibi Ovo Hevev is I love, but it's Ani Ohev. Abba Nibi Ovo. Okay.
Do they call it pig?
It's not. So this song, yeah, glance at the lyrics real quick, but this video is probably the best one I'm going to bring you. This is extraordinary to watch this, and remember this is from 1978, okay? You gotta watch this performance. Has anybody heard this before? Or sing it time? Hey, you listen to my grandmother look like in the 70s. Choreography, look at the costumes, what's the tune? Alright, here comes the solo singing about the power of love. So singing about love. wait till you get to the dance part. That's all I'm waiting for. Yeah. I did that one. Alright. This goes for it, right? Alright. Okay. So, thoughts and reactions. Israeli culture in 1978. What do you notice? Just go. How am I doing on time? Okay, good. Yeah.
It mirrors America again, that hair.
Yeah, I think it's very Motown.
Hair? What are they wearing? How does the dance work? Yeah.
And the tight pants.
Sorry? Right. Yeah.
And very unmilitary. I mean, I'm thinking those guys, they're going to go into the army sooner. They've been in the army.
They were in the army.
And when they looked,
They started as what would be like, I don't know. Oh, they started as an army band.
oh, so when they're in the army, they probably look totally different.
Oh, they did. Their hair was this long.
Right, right. I mean, that's what you do if you leave the army, right? You bring your hair long.
Go crazy. Yeah.
So, what I want to talk about for how this relates to Israeli society, what does that mean that Europe got together and decided that the best of Europe, the best of European culture, that's what Eurovision is, right? Europe votes on what's the best of European culture, and they pick Israel, and they pick this song. What's that?
I was wondering, how could Israel even be in it if they're not, it's not a European country?
Israel uses Europe as part of the European Broadcasting Authority because they are not part of, this is the thing that happens occasionally in international organizations, is that when Israel should be in the Middle East and North Africa and the Arab bloc, usually, most of the time those nations do not permit Israel to join. And so in things like sporting events and international cultural events, Israel competes with Europe.
Oh.
Israel is actually, I follow Israeli basketball. Israel actually has been part of the African, the Middle Eastern, the Asian, and the European basketball organizations, right? Because depending on what country is at war with Israel at the time, or has relations with Israel, depends on whether or not they'll compete with them. So,
And how's from the Ethiopian team?
there you go. So what I want to talk about is that Europe got together and decided that this is the best of Europe, and we're also picking that the best of Europe is Israel. By the way, when the votes were tallied live at the end, Jordan, who also uses European Broadcast Authority, when it became clear that Israel was going to win, Jordan shut down the broadcast.
Oh.
Most of the Arab world that was watching this is huge. This Eurovision Song Contest is huge everywhere but America. I mean, it's almost like soccer. But it's the cultural soccer. And Arab countries shut down their broadcast because it was clear that Israel was going to win. Yeah, last
I
one.
was just thinking, Israel was 30 years old, and it reminds me of how the United States, when it was a young country, they really tried to put on exhibitions and show Europe
Yeah.
they were not this prehistoric
Country bumpkins.
cannibal, right, without culture. So this was a cultural statement.
We are the best at European culture, and this is what we put on. Right. So let's, we're going to look at, I think taught us this in the other, all right, Einstein song. Look at this.
Question. Were the other entries as Americanized as this?
Yeah.